Wow, so this is what it's like to not be famous, huh? All right.
Yeah.
So, as you guys know, I'm a pretty big fan of sports, games, and all that. You'd say I'm a bit of a super fan, but, I mean, I'm smart enough to know that sports aren't perfect. You know, there's a lot of problems in sports. So let's start with the ESPN analysts, okay? I don't know how thorough the vetting process is, but some of them are not that bright. So I was watching ESPN another day, sometime, basketball season, and the announcer goes, "The Celtics came out of halftime literally on fire." Oh, really? I'll watch that. Everyone knows a good conflagration, right? No. So they apparently have issues with school. One of the worst parts of sports is the streaker. So if you don't know what that is, it is someone who decides to take off most of their, if not all of their clothes, and run out onto the football field or the basketball court and basically ruin the game. It's terrible. But you don't really see that in NASCAR, do you?
What?
You know, you got the guy up in the booth, he's up there. And, all right, Jimmy Johnson in the last 3 laps has lost 2 places. And, oh, we have a streaker. No, we don't. The press conference at the end of games, this is kind of new. They started showing these a lot, and it's kind of a big waste of time. I mean, what is the coach going to tell you? You know, he stands up there and they're like, "Hey, coach, tell us every bit of your detailed plan about how you're going to win the next game." No, he's not going to tell you anything like that. And also, the people in the audience are never mic'd. So you got the guy standing up there, and all you can hear is... No. Next question. Probably 3 or 4. Yeah. Donald Trump, Fergie, Iron Man. You know, it doesn't even make sense. I don't know why they televise these things. But enough about sports. I want to tell you guys a little bit about my life. I usually do my stand-up about my life. So recently, I got married this last summer, but before then, I was up in Flint, Michigan, going to school at the University of Michigan in Flint. And I lived with my grandparents. And let me tell you, old people are pretty awesome and mean, but funny at the same time. It's weird. So here's, you know, I'm with my grandpa and my grandma, and we're going out to a restaurant, you know, like a Texas Roadhouse. It's nice. We get out of the car, my grandpa's having issues walking, you know, he's a little bent over, and I'm like, "Hey, Gramps, you want me to help you walk?" And, you know, he's stubborn, so he's like, "Nah, get away from me." So we make it, you know, partway through the parking lot. The hostess walks out and she's like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, can I help you to your seat?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, if only this deadbeat would learn some manners." Throws me right under the bus. I already offered. They're mean. My Grams is funny every time she tries to FaceTime with me, you know, old people and technology, right? You know, she's sitting there poking her face and I'm like, "Don't press anything, Grams." And she's like, "Don't worry, I just got to press this one thing." Hangs up. This last Christmas, I've been out here, obviously, and all my family was in Michigan. So my mom took the phone around so that Grams couldn't mess it up, and she was showing everyone their face so that I could see everyone this last Christmas. And we're taking it around. I'm saying hi, "Oh, how are you?" A little catching up. We get to my Grams, and I say, "Oh, Grams, how you doing?" "Fat and sassy." So that's what I was living with for a few years. It was fat and sassy grandma. So here's a transition. Have you ever wondered about the North Pole?
No.
No? Oh, weird. Just me. You know, think about it. So your equator, your lines of time zones, they all end up going up and down the globe. So when you get to the North Pole, you know, you have one pole right here, and you walk around it. You're 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. If you go backwards, do you get younger? You're going back in time, right? Isn't that how it works? But none of us are going to know that because it's really cold up there. No one's going to go test that theory out. Michigan is also cold. I'll tell you a funny story about a really creepy dude I found at an airport. So I fly in to Michigan from visiting out here, and you know, you're standing in line for a million things at airports, and why not make a little small talk, make things a little less awkward? So I asked this guy, "Hey, you know, the weather's a good topic to do, break the ice. I say, hey, you think it's going to snow? And he just looks at me with a really serious face and he goes, it's too cold to snow. I was like, what does that even mean? How does it get too cold to snow? That's what it is. When it's cold, it snows. Like, does it just make a sheet of ice that just drops on the city and crushes everything? I don't know. But thank you guys. I appreciate this.